Thank you so much for making the effort to come. I think in light of what's happened this week with the beautiful berries that were grown in Chile or Argentina and then shipped to China and then shipped to New Zealand and then landing in our supermarket stalls, I think that there's a little bit of hypocrisy happening in our food regulations when there's 10 people in hospital with Hep A and still no one actually they haven't actually had the coroner's inquest from anyone. So the raw milk is being cut, but I'm sure those Chinese berries will still be there next week. My name is Heenan. I am a director of Regrarians, along with our eldest daughter Isabella Doherty and my husband Darren Doherty. We are an Australian-based not-for-profit, but we work all over the world. We do workshops and we work in support with farmers, communities and government organisations to help them to regenerate their landscapes, their local economies and their local communities, and most importantly, their soil. We think that local producers are the rock stars, and we think and we hope and we're pretty sure that it's going to happen that one day when little Johnny at kindergarten says, I want to be a farmer, that people won't try and talk him out of it. They're both saying, oh, wow, that's fantastic. That, it doesn't have to just be a doctor. A farmer is a doctor. A farmer's growing food that can actually be a medicine. And he's also doing illustrations for our book, which is called the Regrarians platform. I am going to plug what we do because the whole idea for this night originally was an intimate, invite-only affair at Pope Jones. Joel said, I want to help the film because we're making a documentary on Polyface Farm. He said, I want to help the documentary, so what can I do? Can I come and give you a day and do some PR? And we said, great. So my idea was that we'd have this little intimate affair up at Pope Jones with Matt Wilkinson cooking us some amazing food because Joel loves his food. And then we got home from travelling. We've been on a 6-month tour around the world, drinking raw milk all over the world, buying it in supermarkets, buying it in health shops, and we got home and all of a sudden the raw milk thing happened. And there's 2 things that I'm addicted to: raw milk and sex. And I was hoping that the Minister for Health was meant to be sitting here and I was going to say, Minister, how do you think, are we going to be okay with sex or are you going to ban that too? Only if it's raw. Thank you, Dennett. So I am a raw milk addict, like I am. And am I going to say Swampy has brought me some because we are missing it. My son, who is 6'2", 13 years of age, is a raw milk addict, drinks 2 litres a day. And he said to me, Mum, what am I going to do? I haven't got my milk anymore. Because his idea of milk is from his region. 10 minutes from where we live, we go and get our milk from our farmer. We pay him 4 times the amount that he would get from the dairy. And it's our milk, it's like our yeast. So he sort of can't drink the milk anymore. So when the raw milk happened, I said to Darren, we have to share Joel with everyone. We can't keep it to a beautiful, even though it would have been so easy to just walk into Matt's Pope Jones restaurant. So for the last couple of months I've spent on a computer, which I don't like being on a computer. And I would like to thank everyone here who has shared on their Facebook or on Twitter about coming tonight, because I think it is very important that we do this. The time for a food revolution is now, and we cannot sit back and let the politicians tell us we can't do what we want to do. They have to follow us. We are showing them the way, and they have to follow us. what an amazing effort. He's been travelling for 3 days and flying. He is an incredible person. Our next presenter has had an unfortunate time the last few months because she was used basically as a pawn in this whole raw milk debacle, witch hunt. Vicki Jones from Mountain View Dairy is here. Her dairy was the dairy that was claimed to... I mean, I thought in Australia you were innocent until proven guilty, but the media have all said that a child died. Even ABC, I'm so disappointed with ABC because they've continued to say that a child died and without even a coroner's inquest. So the media has continued this and poor Vicki and her dairy have suffered. So please welcome Vicki Jones from Mountain View Dairy.
Hi everyone, thank you, that was amazing. It's such a great introduction. I really feel your warmth and I have to say that actually I saw Joel Salatin a few years ago when I watched Foodie and I remember thinking, being blown away by this man and his innovation and I remember telling my husband, oh my goodness, this Joel Salatin has this amazing farming model and it really inspired me, I guess, to do what we're doing now. So I feel really fortunate to actually meet you. It's like a movie star. So yeah, it's really amazing. And gosh, I think too that I'd love to see all my dairy farming neighbours see this now because they're also critical of what we do. So I just wanted to run through a bit, just explain where I've come from and how it's got me to where I am now. So I grew up on a small hobby farm. My parents are from Europe, so we were really blessed to have very free range and organic upbringing. Always where I've had raw milk, whether it was goats or cows. My parents grew everything, we cooked everything from scratch, and Dad never let us eat white bread or Cocoa Pops, which we thought was really horrible. But I look back now, I'm very grateful that he was really tough and had the European understanding of good quality food. So growing up on a small farm was really good. We had every animal you could imagine, and animals are our pets. We grew animals for food, but they all had names. Well, the pets had names, the ones we ate, and then I actually ended up marrying my neighbour, who was a dairy farmer, and this was a whole new world for me. I felt like, we don't really know what goes. We don't, unless you're in the industry, you don't really know, what's on the inside. So I got to go on the inside, and I saw some things that pretty much horrified me. Things like calf induction. We would have our farm advisors come around and ask us, how many cows have you got left to calve? And out of 200 cows that needed to be finished calving in an 8-week period, you might have 80 cows left to calve, and he'd give us the recipe, okay, give them the needle. And for a young wife, I remember walking around the paddock with my husband. They had needled 80 cows, and my husband was knocking these premature calves in the head, and that's a pretty horrifying thing to go through, and it was something that I was very determined to stop. Tail docking, selling bobby calves, using fertilisers with heavy metals, sprays, Roundup, antibiotics, it's all part of how we produce food. So these are the things that I eventually phased out of our farming practices, which every time we did something like this would come at a financial cost. But, we weighed up financial, ethical, and we were prepared. I was prepared to take the financial loss for the ethical gain. And every time I feel the universe has rewarded us for what we have done, and it's progressed to where we are now. So being on a family farm, my husband and I decided to venture out, and we bought another farm in 2002, and we actually bought a herd of very high genetic cows, the top 2%. They were, Holstein Friesians and very high production, and we got the experts out, and they told us what to feed them, soy, corn, canola to stimulate their appetite. The farm used a lot of nitrogen, so we had no clover. It was pretty sick actually, so were the cows. We had the cows produce a lot of milk, but they're very high input. So we got stuck when we hit a drought, and prices of feed went through the roof. We learned quickly that that they probably weren't the best things to have. So 2005 we got hooked into the get big or get out. So we and my husband, we bought a bigger farm, we bought another farm. We were milking 400 cows, we were good farmers, we used grain and nitrogens, and we were producing a lot of milk. We were making a lot of money, we were also spending a lot of money. The fertiliser and grain people loved me because I used to spend about $300,000 a year looking after them, money coming in, money going out, but we didn't really make a great profit. So I guess I also realised during this time that how little control we had over our business, and when we got hit with droughts, how exposed we were to the what the global world was doing. America was flooding the market with product, or Argentina had to put a mouth, like everything was revolving around what was happening in the world, and we had no control over our business. If costs went up at the same time as milk prices going down, we had to wear it. And what farmers do, they just keep working for nothing, and we go further into debt. So I'm just looking through my notes. Yep. So anyway, we plodded along. In 2009, we got burnt in the fires. We got hit with the GFC, which I don't know if many people know what happened with the dairy. We were told that it was something to do with the banks not giving people money, but in actual fact, it was the scandal in China when they were putting, I think Frontera and China were putting a synthetic protein in the baby formula, and there was a big blow up, and China dropped Australia overnight and said, right, we're going to get our milk from New Zealand now, and all of a sudden we had all this product. We were flooding the markets, and dairy farmers went down, our milk price went down by 50% overnight. So that was a really hard time. We stopped feeding grain. We were quite heavy grain users, and when grain got to about $500 a tonne, we decided it was just, and I think milk was like 25 cents. And a kilo of grain is equivalent to a litre of milk, so that equation didn't add up. 2010 we signed up to NASA to go organic, so we've sort of always been keen on there's probably a few things. My children were coming onto the farm, and I was really reluctant to let them be exposed to chemicals. And also I think too, I started to learn about what was going in the food and the effects it had on people, and as a mum, I certainly don't want to feed my children food with chemicals, and I certainly don't want to feed your children food with chemicals. So we moved to being farming organically. There's a 3-year conversion process, and what we found really difficult was we were receiving conventional prices, but getting the lower yields of organic farming. And so in 2011 we developed Mountain View Farm, and we'd stopped feeding grain, did a lot of research on grass versus grain, and I pretty much made the decision that we would never feed grain again. And then we looked for ways of actually getting our milk out. We had this beautiful milk. It had changed in texture. You know, when you feed grain, it's white, and I don't know, I actually like drinking it. But we went to this grass-fed owner system and had this beautiful creamy milk, and it was a bit depressing actually putting it on the truck and sending it to a factory that really didn't care about it. So Mountain View was born. We developed this community. We developed a herd share model, and just entered this whole new world of, you know, dealing with retailers and actually getting to know the consumers and build these beautiful partnerships. And it was like being born actually. I didn't realise how disconnected we were, and how important it is to have this community. You know, we talk about the importance of having, knowing your farmer, but it's so important for the farmer to know the community. And, you know, I'd love to see every farm do what we've done and you know, have the support of the community and you know, grow food without chemicals and, you know, cut the numbers back and you know, I just think it would be amazing. And I think this, you know, this is pretty much what Joel's doing, and you know, this could go worldwide. So it's a really exciting project to be working on. And you know, we were sort of, oh, that was the other thing. Sorry, our bobby calves. So, you know, part of our model is, and it was something I always struggled with, sending the bobby calves off to be killed. So we had been raising them for about 15 years and growing steers up and sending them to market to be bought by bullock growers, and which is really good. That was a really good add-on to our income. I mean, dairy beef always gets the bottom of the market, but we'd had some really good markets. So even the bottom of a good market is good. It's the biggest problem with it, and trying to encourage other farmers to grow their young dairy beef steers out, is that there's no guarantee. So with our growing community, we sort of put it out there and said, you know, is anyone interested in trying, you know, this dairy beef? It's not something that the industry or even the butchers embrace. They're always, you know, raw bloody dairy beef. You know, they're a different product to a grain-fed, hormone-grown, you know, Angus steer. But the meat is really nice, they just don't have the yield. So anyway, we started selling our dairy steers to our milk community, and the feedback was amazing. People love the meat. Our prices are very affordable, so we were actually starting to get the feel of, you know, we're actually supplying families with this beautiful organic produce, and they could afford it. So now we market dairy beef, and we have a policy of raising all of our calves, and the bulk of our milk calves are raised on, we call it, on our retired cows. So we basically any cow that isn't suited to being milked or culled cow, and normally you should get a head chopped off. Dairy cows have to tick a lot of boxes to stay in the herd. And you know, if they don't get any carb, if they don't have the right milk, if they're, you know, too old, too saggy, whatever, they're on the truck, and that was something else I really struggled with. So I really love the fact that we can honour our cows and let them do what they love doing, being mums. We have some cows in the herd that just want to be mums, and thankfully my husband's amazing and just lets me do whatever I want. So if I say, oh, she really wants to raise these calves, he's like, it's okay, love. So I'm really blessed, and it is really nice to let those cows. And you know, it's great for us because the stronger mothering instinct she has, the better job she's going to do raising those calves. So and we raise about 100 calves a year now, and we've got this amazing market, and now I can actually say to other farmers, you know, raise your calves, because, you know, there's a market there. So we hit 2013, and which, you know, on well, if anyone is familiar with the dairy industry, it's talked about as being the hardest year on record. The tsunami, they talk about the tsunami of everything that could go wrong went wrong. It was dry, milk prices were down, feed was up, fertiliser was up, good farmers were taking on hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt just to keep going. Now, we by this time had reduced our herd size from 400 cows to 120, which horrified our bank, and they decided that we were now high risk, even though we never missed a payment, and they decided to put the interest rates up a lot, to 18%, which really knocked the stuffing out of us. Actually, no, they raised it that year, 2008, no, they put it by 2%, sorry. It was the following year they put it up to 18%. Now, we had paid an extra $50,000 that year in interest, but we still managed to make a profit. And we did that by keeping our farm in balance. We ran a stocking rate that the farm could handle in extreme conditions. We didn't buy, we're self-sufficient, we grow everything ourselves, so we know that what we put in our cows' bodies, we know what's in it. We don't use antibiotics at all, and this is another really serious issue that has to be addressed by the industry. Farmers use the same antibiotics doctors use. It's in the food in low levels, and it's causing really bad problems. And they know, they're really worried about it. So I wanted to have a herd. We stopped using it in about 2008 actually, and I want to have a herd that has got a really strong immune system. So, and I have to get criticised from people saying, well, what do? Do you watch your cows die? But what happens when we eat organic food? We're a lot healthier. When your animals eat organic food and they're not stressed and they're having a variety of food in their diet, we're not just growing one grass, we're growing herbs and clovers and our cows, and we have grass all the time. Our cows are really healthy, and I don't think I would have believed it until I've seen it. So anyway, so 2013, the banks actually said to us, well, we're changing banks, but they said, wow, if you guys can make a profit in that year, you're bloody amazing, because our good farmers couldn't. So 2014 came along, and then they did put our interest rates up even more. They're a bit cheeky. They wrote something in our contract, which they called, and we got hit with a technical default. So it turns out you don't even have to miss a loan repayment to get penalty interest. So we copped an extra $170,000 that year, and we didn't make a profit. We made a loss. We were sitting on. We would have made a profit. I should touch on, we developed this herd share model. We've got this beautiful community. We've also produced other products. We now have a yogurt made, a grass-fed, which we say is a grass-fed, organic grass-fed and ethical. We make cheeses, and we're in the process of producing a drinking yogurt. And then, and everything was going really well. We also supplying an organic factory, and we're really starting to make some money. And we were shifting to a new bank, and they just thought that we do a lot of work with refugees and disengaged youth, and they just thought we were wonderful. We love you, you're like the model farmers. And then the big bang hit, December 2014. We got a phone call from the health department saying that there's been a few children sick, and the child has died, and they've all drunk your milk. And then the next day we had the media, and it was like, holy cow, we had all these news people out of the farm, and they're all, wanting to know what my thoughts are, and I'm thinking, gosh, I don't even know what's going on. So we actually ended up doing a bit of research. We did our own independent research, and the media is saying that these children all got sick in December, and they drank Mountain View milk, drank it, got sick, and went to hospital, and one child died. When we did a little bit further, did our own investigation, we found, yep, they did actually have access to our milk. But what the media did tell us is that there was a bit of time delay. So the first child got sick in May. They actually tested our milk for E. coli, and the test came back negative. Tested the child, and the parents there was no proof that the milk was responsible. And actually the health department at the time said it wasn't your milk. The other child was another little boy that was actually in the paper, and it read something like, child drank milk, child turned grey, child went to hospital. So there was a few little gaps in the middle. Should have said, child drank milk in September, I don't know when he turned grey, but he went to hospital at the end of October. So just a minor technical little miss in the information. And the child that passed away, which I'm really sad for the family and very, very sad for what the media, and I get really emotional because what the media have put these parents through, but that child drank milk in August and he was actually lactose intolerant and he died on the 30th of October. So I'm imagining the media either don't know those dates or they think that he didn't have anything in between. But so I thought you needed to know that. I'm just waiting on the person who did the investigation for us to finally print the report out, but I had enough information that I could share that with you. And where are we now? Well, this has sort of been quite stressful on us, but I think the positive out of it is that it has brought these amazing communities together, and I just think I've been in the dairy industry for 23 years, and spent 15 years learning about and feeling very frustrated. How helpless we were as farmers, how disunited and how pathetic our leaders are. And I don't know how many times I used to talk to them and say, surely there's something you can do to make things better. And when they're sitting on their multi-millions of dollars, why the hell would they want to make things better? If you us farmers are stupid enough to keep producing milk for less than cost of production, then why would they want to make any changes? I just think this, the positive out of this, and unfortunately for the family, his child passed away, and I can tell you that we've been told that they're saying that it had nothing to do with the milk, and they're actually horrified that the media has used their child in this circus, whatever you want to call it. So the positive out of this is that we're actually getting farmers united. We're getting these beautiful groups that have been, we've heard, I hadn't really heard about the Regrarians before, but I had heard about the Food Sovereignty Alliance, and we've made a lot of connections, and it's really amazing to see just everyone unite, and this is the beginning of a new world, and just having awareness with consumers and passionate farmers wanting to produce this beautiful food, and I'm one of them. I want families to have access to food, to beautiful organic food, and make it affordable. And this is what this is all about, and it's really heartwarming to be part of this. And I know my farming friends and neighbours where I live all think I'm mad, and they'd probably have a heart attack if they saw this now. They'd think it was totally lunatics. So thank you. Thank the Regrarians for this opportunity to actually think that I'm sort of worthy of being heard. And just as consumers, I just think you guys have more power than what you know about them. Anyway, I think that's about all.
Media who's willing to attack a family with no evidence and allow people to send them death threats over Facebook. This is what we're dealing with, this is what we're fighting against. And we've got a lot of power in this room to overcome what is happening with our policies and with our media. And on a brighter note, we just Joel Salatin his birthday present.
Joel loves ice cream, so we bought him some homemade vanilla gelato.